Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of wait for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic, we are going into part 2 of 2, as I told you we would, of most people are not ambitious. We're going to talk about why this is, what it means for you, and what exactly you should do with this information. Because I don't just tell you these things just to be telling you. I tell you what you need to do with this stuff, and hopefully some of you, listen, I can be honest. I'm self-aware enough to know that many people are going to listen to this. It's going to go in one ear and out the other. But some of you are actually going to apply this, and some of you are actually going to take some time and think about what does this actually mean for me? What can I do with this information that Dre is giving me every day here on this show? Not all of you are going to do it, but some of you will. So hopefully those of you who are in that top 20%, you're actually doing something with this information. So before we get into part 2, first of all, let me tell you all to have a daily motivation text that I send out every single day. You should know about it because I've been telling you. If you want to get that text, and I think you do want to get this text, I should stop saying if. Since you want to get this text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every day when I send out the daily motivation, you are going to be on the list and you're going to be receiving it. That number, once again, is 305-384-6894. So let's get into it. Today's topic, once again, is most people are not ambitious. We are going into part 2. What this means and what you can do with this information. So let's get a definition of this word ambition. It means having or showing a strong desire and determination to succeed. That's the definition of the word ambition. Now let's get a definition of succeed. So ambition is a strong determination or desire to succeed, and to succeed means to achieve the desired aim or result. You notice how when I'm giving these definitions, especially the topics we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, how these same terminologies keep coming up over and over again. The desired aim or result. We're talking about targets. We're talking about accuracy. We're talking about formulas. We're talking about outcomes. If you don't have a desired outcome, you cannot be successful. If you don't have a desired outcome with which to be successful, it's impossible for you to be ambitious. So here's an inconvenient truth, folks, that I want to let everybody know. And this is going to apply to some of you. Some of you, this is going to be a smack in the face. But you should take this smack and do something about it. This is not Will Smith, Chris Rock smack in the face. This is a proverbial smack in the face that you should be happy to get because it's going to help you if you do something with it. Here's the inconvenient truth, folks. Most people do not have any aims. They do not have any results that they are aiming to achieve right now. They have no targets whatsoever, let alone do they have the desire to achieve them. Most people have no targets, no goals, no desired outcomes. And let alone do they have a desire to achieve anything because they don't know what they're going after. Therefore, by simple logic, and again, this is applying to some people who are listening to me at this exact moment, it is literally impossible for most people to be ambitious. So the topic yesterday and today is that most people don't have ambition. And you might be wondering, well, Dre, how can you be so sure? Here, I'm telling you right now. The way I'm so sure that most people don't have ambition is that most people don't have goals. Most people have no desired outcomes. Most people have no target, which is part of the definition of being ambitious. You can't be ambitious without a goal. Most people don't have goals, so it's impossible for them to be ambitious. That's how I know most people ain't ambitious. And when I say 20% and 80%, I'm actually being generous. I would think that maybe about 5% of the population actually has goals. I mean, actively has goals, meaning they set their goals, they write their goals down, and they consistently review their goals. And then they look at themselves and say, all right, where am I at? How am I doing on this goal? Am I getting closer to it? What do I need to work on? How can I improve? What do I need to develop or acquire or get or change or do or get rid of in order to get closer to my goal? I would say about 5 out of every 100 people actively does that. The other 95% of people don't do that. They just live their lives by default. Whatever happens, happens. And some of you who are listening to me, I'm talking about you. You know I'm talking about you. All right, this ain't not a revolution to you. You know I'm talking about you. The question is, what are you going to do about it? See, it's not that you need to feel bad. The question is, what are you going to do? You can get a copy of the mental workbook, and I can help you out with this. The mental workbook, you can get it at workonmygame.com/workbook. And that book is going to walk you through setting goals, programming your subconscious and your conscious mind, and actually start doing things intentionally in your life instead of just living your life like most of the people around you who just do whatever, and whatever ends up happening. And guess where they end up? Wherever. And do they become successful? No, it's impossible to be successful without goals. People without goals become losers. If you don't have a goal, you can't win. And if you can't win, that means you're losing by default. This is the inconvenient truth that stamps home and proves the fact that most people are not ambitious. It is literally impossible for most people to get there, ambition that is, without goals, because they don't have the elements in place to execute on their ambition. Let me ask you this question. So let's take it away from what I think and my observations. Let's go to you. How many people do you know who have goals that are written down and that they are looking at, reviewing, and reminding themselves of at least once a week? And Nico, leave this whole pause in there because I give everybody time to think about this. I want everyone who's listening to me to think about this question. Let me say it again. How many people do you know who have goals that are written down and that at least once a week they are either looking at them, reviewing them, checking boxes off, and just asking themselves, or what do I need to do so I can work on these goals? How many people do you know who have that? You know for a fact they have goals that are written down and they are at least reminding themselves what they are at least one time a week. I would bet that damn near everyone who's listening to this show, you might not know more than 5 people to whom you know for sure you could say yes about to this question. Not even 5. So, being that that's true, and if there may be a few of you who know more than 5, and are you sure? Any of you who thinks you know more than 5, are you sure? And those of you who know more than 5, here's my question to you. Most of the people other than you would agree, don't know more than 5, right? Okay. So since you know more than 5 and most people don't, when I say 20% and 80%, I'm actually being extremely generous. I'm exaggerating a lot when I say 20% and 80%. It's really more like 2% and 98%. And it might not even be that. I might be even going too far with that. How many people do you know who do this? Some of you who I'm talking to, you ain't even doing it. So you probably don't have any friends who are doing it. Why do I know that? By the law of association. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. So if you aren't setting any goals, you probably don't have friends who set goals. Let's be honest here. Now, you can do something about all this. Listen, I'm not saying this to condemn you. You can do something about it, but let's be honest where you're at so you can do something about where you're at. Because if you're lying about where you're at, then we can't fix it. In episode 1880, we talked about the law of association. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. So if no one around you is setting goals, if you aren't setting goals, then why would anybody who sets goals want to hang with you? I mean, let's be honest here. Let's have a real conversation here, folks. That's not bullshit. I would bet that for many of you, that not even the people who live in the same home as you fit this description. Is everybody who lives in the same home as you? I mean, they sleep in the same house that you sleep in. Roommates, significant others, kids, parents. Do they all set goals, write them down, and review them at least once a week? Because see, people who do this, they'll talk about them. They'll openly talk about goals, and they'll openly talk about their own goals, and they'll talk to you about your goals if they know that you have them and they have them. Y'all will love to talk about it. Y'all will love to collaborate because there ain't too many of them walking around the planet. Is everybody who even lives in the same house as you setting goals? Do your significant other set goals? Do your kids set goals? Do your parents set goals? Whoever's living in your house, do they set goals? Your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your roommates, your teammates. Most of them probably don't. Let's be honest here. If you, on a personal level, do not have aims and outcomes, i.e. goals, it is impossible for you to be ambitious. You must have goals to be ambitious by definition of the word. I just gave you the definitions. So now you understand why only 1% of people get to the rarefied position of rich by age 65. Because only 1% of people actually set a target to do it. Actually, more than 1% set the target. Maybe not everybody who aims for it reaches it, but only a certain percentage even try. Only 20% of people even try. right? That's the 20-80 thing. 20% of people set the goal to try, then 1% actually make it. And the 20% who come up short, they at least end up in a better space. They end up in a good space. The other 80%, they can't be in a good space because they're not even trying to. 5% of the 20%, which ends up as 1%, end up making it. And the other 15% of, 95% of the 20%, which is 15% of the whole, they end up in a good space. Why? Because they at least had the desire to get there. When you got the desire to do something, you at least end up in a better space than the people who had no desire whatsoever and they're just whatever. What are you doing is the question. Forget them. Let's talk about you. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is most people are not ambitious. This is part 2 of 2. Here's the good news about the people who don't even make it into the 1%, but at least they had the intentions of doing so. Here's the good news about them. Even if you're trying to get to the 1% and you come up short, by age 65, we're saying, and most of you are not age 65. But if you come up short, maybe because if you consider luck to play a role in it, luck is not the reason why you will come up short if you did, but let's just say luck keeps you out of it, or maybe you just don't have the right strategy, maybe you're not smart enough, maybe you're not the right gender, age, color, you're not from the right place, your family weren't the right people, all the bullshit excuses people come up with. Let's just say that one of those is the reason you come up short of the top 1%, okay? Let's just say that happens. I'm going to humor you and indulge your bullshit excuses, and let's just say that happens, okay? Here's the good news, that just by having the intention, that you still end up in the top 20%. Like I told you yesterday, 1% ends up rich, 4% financially well off, 15% are in a great financial space. They're in a good space financially. They are taking care of themselves and they're in a good space. They're not rich, but they're taken care of. All right, that's not bad. That's not a bad outcome for somebody at age 65. Now, some of you might be 22 and you're thinking 65 is so far away, man, I ain't got to worry about that. Well, you should think about it. Go talk to somebody who's around that age and they'll tell you how much they thought the same thing then that you're thinking right now and how they wish they had thought differently. Go ask them. They'll tell you. I know people at that age bracket who told me, hey, Dre, I wish I'd been thinking about this when I was your age. You need to be thinking about it now, because when you get to that age, it ain't as easy as it looks from far away. So all you need to be thinking about this. As the saying goes, when you aim for the moon, even if you miss, you still land amongst the stars, right? Most people aim for absolutely nothing, and guess what they end up getting? This is a simple yet accurate fact about human beings. Look around at the people you know. Again, don't take my word for this. Look at your own life experience and tell me if what I'm telling you is a reflection of what you've seen in your life. So if what I say here on the show is not a reflection of either it logically doesn't make sense to you and it's not a reflection of what you've seen, then you need to get in touch with me and I can help set you straight. Maybe you'll set me straight. I doubt it, but I can help set you straight. This is probably what's going to happen. Maybe you just haven't seen enough. But one of the two is either logically going to make sense to you. Maybe you haven't seen it based on the environment that you're from and your influences, the people who are around you, or it does logically make sense. If it doesn't logically make sense because you haven't seen it, then that's just because there's some things you haven't seen yet. But I've seen them. That's why I'm telling you. And that's why I explain these things. So even if you haven't seen it, you will still understand it. But look around at your own life and the people that you know, maybe even yourself. And let's be honest here. Most people are okay with getting by. And listen, let me be clear. It's okay to be okay with getting by. If you're okay with being average, if you're okay with being the same as everybody else, if you're okay with just getting by, I'm not mad at you for it. This is not about me attacking or looking down, or you attacking or looking down on people who are okay with being okay. Average exists for a reason. Everybody can't be above average, and then average wouldn't exist. The reason average exists is because most people are okay with it. That's why it's there. And that's not going to change. You cannot change human nature. So don't try. What you need to do is learn to work within it. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is most people are not ambitious. This is part 2 of 2. The decision that you need to make, this is the important part because it's not about other people. It's about you. The decision that you need to make is how you wish to operate amongst other people, knowing that most of them do not have this ambition that we're speaking about. Do you want to have a smaller circle that features more people who have this ambition, people who set goals, people who are intentional about being in the top 20%? Is that what you want? Or are you okay with mingling amongst the masses while at the same time understanding that most of them do not have your ambition and do not have a strong desire to achieve pretty much anything. Most people don't have a strong desire to achieve anything. Are you okay with mingling amongst those folks, or do you want to only deal with the people who are ambitious and are serious about going somewhere? Now I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to help answer this question for you. Don't answer it yet. Let me help answer the question for you. I gave you an either or there. I'm going to tell you that most of the time when I talk to people, they either tell me that they are or they want to be in that first group, the former, meaning they want to have a real small circle, only deal with people who are seriously ambitious, people who have goals, who want to go somewhere, and they want to go somewhere and they're serious about what they want to do and achieving things in their lives. I get text messages from these people all the time. And I would assume many of those people who send me those texts, you're listening to my voice right now. Well, let me ask you a question that harkens back to what I talked about earlier here and in yesterday's episode. Do you have goals, and are they written down? You're saying you want to be around people who are serious about reaching where they want to go in life. Do you have goals, and are they written down? If the answer is no, then you're not as serious as your words say you are. So first of all, pause this episode and go write your goals down. I don't care what you come up with, just write them down. Just the act of doing it separates you from most people. Most people say they want to be in the former group if you talk to them about it. And trust me, I talk to them about it. My whole business is based around personal and professional development. I talk to these people. I hear from them, and they tell me the things that, most of the time, people tell me things that I think that they think I want to hear. Now, sometimes they're telling the truth, so we just happen to be in alignment. But sometimes people are telling me something that they're not even living out the things that they're saying. Which is fine. This is what it is. I understand this. I have the skill of discernment. I know what it is. Many people say they want to be in this group with the small circles, people who are ambitious, but when you look at their actions, they are operating as someone in the latter group, meaning they're just okay with being okay. They're amongst the masses. So here's what I would suggest you do to answer my own questions, especially if you're in business. Do what I told you in episode 1058, which is understanding the 3 levels of people. Some people get 2 minutes of your time, some people get 2 hours of your time, and some people get 2 days of your time. Your job is to be discerning and figuring out who goes into which group, and also not making a mistake of giving 2 hours to a 2-minute person, or only giving 2 minutes to a 2 days person. So your job is figuring out who goes into what group. So you come across that high level person, you need to keep them around, and you come across a low level person, you need to get them moving, get them on their movement. All right, you come, they go. All right, I gave them your 2 minutes of time. Now you got to get out of here. Discernment is episode 1431, by the way, for those of you who don't know what that means, or you need to sharpen up your skill of judgment, and you need to be a very good judge of character. That is episode 1431, again, when we talked about discernment. Now, I talked about the skill of judging character in episodes 1993, 1994, and 1995. It's a 3-part series. Go listen to that one as well. Again, that's 1993, 1994, and 1995. How to judge character. Your job is knowing who goes in which group and rationing out your time and attention accordingly, because those are your most valuable resources. You don't have to be mad at or shun people who are in that 2-minute group. Again, give them 2 minutes. You just need to make sure you're not giving them too much of your most valuable resources. That's all. Give them the 2 minutes that they're worth and keep it moving. Why? Because your life is a business. And no business wastes their resources for long without going out of business, if you get my drift. All that being said, let's recap today's class, which is part 2 of 2. Most people are not ambitious. The definition of ambition is having or showing a strong desire. This is point 1. Definition of ambition: having or showing a strong desire and determination to succeed. Definition of succeed is to achieve the desired aim or result. Here's the inconvenient truth: many people do not have aims or results, therefore it's impossible for them to be ambitious by the definition of the word. So the question is, how many people do you know who have goals and write them down and review them at least once a week? Most of you probably don't know even 5 people who fit that description, and some of you don't even fit that description. You need to do something about that. Point number 2. Good news about the people who fall short, even when they do have goals and aims, is that you will still end up in a pretty good space, even if you don't win. All right, you choose the right strategies, folks. Even when your strategy does not work out perfectly, you still end up in a pretty good space. This is a principle, a universal law that applies across damn near every practice in life. As long as you have aims and a solid strategy and you work in earnest to reach it, even if you end up not reaching it, you'll still end up in a good space. Shoot for the moon, you land amongst the stars. Look around the people that you know, and look at yourself, and let's be honest, most people are okay with getting by. They don't have goals, and that's okay. but you just need to be clear about which one you are and which one the people you deal with are. And then point number 3, the decision you need to make is, do you want to operate amongst the ambitious or do you want to operate amongst the masses? My answer to this, I'll answer the question for you. Since most people say they want to be in the ambition group, yet they don't act as if they're in the ambition group. So they're saying one thing and doing another. This is how most people operate. Is, like I told you in episode 1058, put people into their groups. Some people get 2 minutes, some people get 2 hours, and some people get 2 days. Your job is to figure out which one is which and make sure you ration out your time properly to the right people and in the right amounts. Give the 2-minute people the 2 minutes they deserve and keep it moving. And it is your job, it's your discipline in making sure you're not giving them more than they deserve. If you do that, then you are doing bad. You give them more than they deserve, you're doing bad business. And eventually, you do too much bad business, you're going to have to file Chapter 11 and go out of business. All that said, 2 things for you to do right now. First of all, text me so you can get my daily motivation every single day, free of charge, straight to your phone. My number, 305-384-6894. You'll get it every day, guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. And number 2, join my Bulletproof Mastermind on my 3rd day mastermind, where you can work with me directly. That is the next step. You listen to this show, the next level is to work with me directly. In my Bulletproof Mastermind, I do a live training every single week. We have a member-only community where the conversation continues. And in my 3rd day mastermind is where you work with me one-on-one. And that is customized to what you're working on, the areas that I focus on most of. You hear the show, so you probably have a pretty good idea what I can help you with. But in my Bulletproof Mastermind, we focus on, first of all, the mindset. The mindset is the foundation. If your mindset is not properly calibrated, it does not matter what tactics you execute, it will not work because you don't have the right mindset in place. Because with the wrong mindset, you will not execute the proper strategy. So any tactic you try might work for a little while, but it's not going to work long term. So mindset comes first, strategy comes second, accountability is third, execution is fourth. I covered all those in my Work on Your Game system manual, by the way. But that is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Again, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all